There's been three, I guess, big crashes this year. We had the first, which was the Luna meltdown, which was the death spiral of a stablecoin back in May.
Sam Bankman-Fried pleaded not guilty Tuesday to charges related to the collapse of his crypto empire. According to reporters present at his arraignment hearing in a New York federal court Tuesday, setting the stage for one of the most high-profile white-collar criminal trials in American history. The disgraced founder of crypto exchange FTX and hedge fund Alameda Research arrived at the courthouse wearing a blue suit and a North Face backpack accompanied by bodyguards with a swarm of press. A federal judge granted a request submitted earlier Tuesday by Bankman-Fried's lawyers to keep private the identities of people who co-signed a multi-million-dollar bond for his release. With Bankman-Fried's legal team citing risks to the safety of the two guarantors given the threats of physical harm against his parents. Prosecutors charged Bankman-Fried with 8 criminal counts last month, including committing wire fraud on customers and lenders, and conspiracy to commit money laundering and to break federal campaign finance laws. Bankman-Fried's plea follows guilty pleas from his top sidekicks Caroline Ellison, Alameda's former CEO, and Gary Wang, FTX's co-founder, on related charges for the alleged scheme to defraud FTX investors and misappropriate customer funds. Wang vowed to work as a cooperating witness, while Ellison claimed during her plea that she and Bankman-Fried orchestrated a scheme to steal billions and that she knew that it was wrong. 115 years, that's the maximum prison sentence Bankman-Fried faces if found guilty on all accounts. Bankman-Fried, a California native who resided in the Bahamas and headquartered FTX there, was arrested by Bahamian authorities last month and subsequently extradited to the United States. The 30-year-old Bankman-Fried was released on a $250 million bail December 23rd, returning to his parents' Palo Alto home. The U.S. government, quote, wants to make an example out of Bankman-Fried. I think the question going forward is going to be, is he really going to trial or is he going to cut some kind of plea deal? Bankman-Fried's case has drawn comparisons to those of other notable white-collar fraudsters, including Bernie Madoff, who received a 150-year prison sentence for defrauding clients of about $60 billion in an infamous Ponzi scheme, and Elizabeth Holmes, who is serving an 11-year prison sentence for fraud charges related to her dubious blood testing company, Theranos.
All right, what up, guys? Welcome to the wheelhouse. So I'm just going to do a quick vid. I want to look at some TA. We got some serious momentum coming in for crypto. Some definite movers. You know, I made an alert about it a couple days ago. That we were getting the Jedi green lights, all conditions to move on several cryptos. That was 2 days ago. We're still in the game. We're still going up. So that was Ethereum Classic. You can see the momentum here on Comp. Filecoin, serious momentum. Curve looking strong. Mana's got a push to it. Aave's on the hunt. Dash is on the move. ADA's relentlessly like hitting back. It's got a little breakout on the way. Losing some momentum, but my Confluence, my CCI, I can see the color change on the candles. We should look at that real quick. So that breakout's going to be 0.2664 on ADA. One Harmony's moving. Sushi's looking good, guys. Sushi's back at $1. SNX is looking good. Ape has had a lot of movement. Ape was just down. I mean, it was just down here at 350. It's up 60 cents in 48 hours. Avalanche has been doing really good. Bat Token is doing good. These are all on the hourlies. I'm just showing you the momentum, so it's really easy to differentiate the pink to the green, the pivot, establishing the floors, and then going. And then yesterday I made a quick video. And I offered $5,000 for a trading competition. You just got to come in the Discord. It's free. Sign up for the competition. That is free. We started today. The stock portfolio for me is already up 24 grand. My crypto portfolio for the competition is, well, it's not really a competition on crypto. It's just a side one. But you have that that you can do as well. So you get $1 million for stocks and you get 100 grand for crypto to play with, and you can go long and short. It's marginable, all that stuff. But I'm up like 3,500 in the crypto, 24,000 on the stocks, and you can just come in. Don't delay. You know, many days I get busy and I can't trade in there because I do trade professionally for firms and myself as well. So you know, you guys can use those days and kind of catch up. But yeah, come in and I'll pay you $5,000 if you get first place, and don't delay too long, because when I move fast. So and I've showed you many times how I get high 90% rates. I've showed you over and over and over on this channel. We have a system. It's got all kinds of things calculating in real time with over 100 indicators behind the scenes. So this isn't no chat GPT machine learning. This is like some serious core algo coding. You can't just talk to a machine and get it to write this stuff. This is some high level stuff that we have. Maker is trying to get over the 200. Gala is already in the game. Zcash is, look at the momentum. Uni's looking good. I mean, Solana is the story right now. It's up 30% this year in 2023. That's basically what I made that 3,500 on. I did like 20 Ethereum, 4 Bitcoin, and a bunch of, I put 101 grand in Solana, made some money. I'm still in that trade. But yeah, I mean, you guys just come in the Discord and do that simulator for free. You can talk to us, you can learn for free, and then you can try to win the 5,000. Chainlink, these are incredible prices on Chainlink. I mean, if you go to the daily, I mean, you're just bouncing off the low. You're literally bouncing off the low. So I mean, that's as low as it's been, you know. And Chainlink's a really good one. Algo, I got beaten, but look at the momentum, guys. It's cracking. So everything's looking good. Look, I'm just going to go over a little bit of news. I do think there's going to be a bullish move in Bitcoin. We have a pattern developing, or that has developed, and we're at the end of it. And typically that pattern, we do skyrocket up. I'm thinking over 20,000.
And you can see we've had several bear markets. The first all the way back toward 2011, 2012, down 91%. The current one down about 75%. The two middle ones down 80%. So our current bear market, that range you're talking about, although there's even a smaller range more recently, it's not so bad relative to the other ones. But the bigger point to make is each of the previous bear markets broke out into big moves higher. Will we have that again? Let's take a look at a more near-term chart of Bitcoin, and it's a weekly chart. What we'll see here is back in 2018 and 2019, you had a strong downtrend, but you also had the sellers exhausting themselves into this narrowing range. We have something very similar happening now. It suggests, Matt and Kaylee, that we could in fact have Bitcoin break out above. If the last low holds, Bitcoin is likely to not only go above 20,000, but maybe all the way toward the last high. That would seem to require a big change in sentiment.
And I also have some clips to share with you from the courthouse in Manhattan with Sam Bankman-Fried and his attorneys, and some coverage and some footage on him pleading guilty, or excuse me, sorry, he pled not guilty. Doesn't surprise me. It's all a game, right? Let's look at Ethereum real quick. Look at the momentum on Ethereum. Candles are getting smaller, but this is like an impulse, maybe it come down a little bit and jump back up, and it's just making these oscillations in higher highs and higher lows. So that's good. Maddox back at 80 cents, guys. That's cool. Litecoin has been moving. Like Litecoin's been tradable lately. Chili's, God, that thing got beaten. Bitcoin, here we go. So yeah, Bitcoin, there it is. Went green and blue. You enter right here at 16,556, and you're up $300 right now, and you're just still holding. You're just waiting it out on the hourly. That's how I do it. So yeah, let's look at some of the clips from Sam Bankman-Fried pleading guilty and get some of that stuff going, and then I will be right back.
seems that Sam Bankman-Fried and his colleagues were part of those counterparties.
Shonali, the issue a lot of people are going to have is, if this is happening at FTX, is it happening elsewhere?
Take us back, if you could, to when you first got the call from Sam and you first had a chance to look at the books. Because I think a lot of people are still trying to understand exactly what happened here. How much of this was about commingling? How much of this was about terrible marking of the books? What did you see?
Yeah, I think I got a call from Sam 48 hours after I made the tweet, but then we got our team on it. It was pretty clear pretty soon that there's misappropriation of user funds. The user funds are gone. At that point, clearly that he lied to his users, his investors, his VC investors, his employees. At that point, I thought I couldn't, like, whatever data that's in the data room, we couldn't trust anymore. So it was quite hard for us to do that due diligence. So we didn't go very far.
Do you think he understood what he was doing?
But I think it will be very, very clear that Sam knows that he was using the user funds to do trading for Alameda.
How much of the funds can they not locate?
I think if you look at the declaration by John J. Ray, remember this is the man who oversaw the liquidation of the Enron bankruptcy as well to try to recoup funds. He had very strong language. He said that there was a complete failure of corporate controls, and he also cited concentration of control in the hands of a small group of people. Tracy Alloway of Bloomberg also pointed out some really interesting details in the footnotes of this filing that showed you loans that went from Alameda had gone to certain individuals, and certain amounts of this money was used to pay, according to this filing and the declaration from John Ray, to pay for personal assets of Sam Bankman-Fried as well as his deputies. So it is definitely worth a read, this filing.
Are those Twitter posts going to be a problem, do you think, Shonali?
In this filing, it said that Alameda made loans, we think, to the FTX executives.
They named him by name in the filing, and the amounts.
If Alameda wound up getting consumer money from FTX, this is like an FTX financing FTX executives in some kind of circular way.
Listen, it's a pretty momentous moment here for a lot of reasons, but we do have Sam Bankman-Fried, who had just really walked in minutes ago wearing a suit and a North Face backpack. He had traveled from his parents' home in California. Remember, he had to stay there as he's been placed on this $250 million, really near record-setting bond in the United States. Now, as you've been saying, he's expected to plead not guilty. That is to the 8 criminal counts he is facing. That includes wire fraud, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and a conspiracy to defraud the United States in campaign finance violations. Listen here, the longer he pleads not guilty, the more we will see what the case is that is being brought against him, what evidence the prosecutors have.
How long realistically are we talking, Shonali, if this goes to trial?
We're talking many, many, many months, right? I mean, remember, the interesting thing is from the minute that a lot of these issues came to surface, the bankruptcy filing, the allegations in the bankruptcy filing, and to the moment he was arrested, it took weeks. But from December 15th to now, we already have 2 of his deputies, as I've been saying, pleading guilty, and him now at the court in Manhattan, extradited in order to be here and, you know, on bond here. So can this move faster? We have had the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District say that their patience will run thin. The time to come forward is now if you knew what was happening over at FTX and if you think that you were a part of this as well. And there are, by the way, many more deputies that we do have a lot of questions about whether they had a role in it, what they knew, and how much Sam knew. But remember, guys, part of this is about FTX and whether it's a standalone issue. Part of this is, again, one of the biggest fraud cases in American history.
Meanwhile, the fallout from the collapse of FTX is just getting messier. Cameron Winklevoss is accusing fellow businessman Barry Silbert of bad faith stall tactics that have left $900 million in customer assets in limbo since FTX's meltdown. He wrote in an open letter yesterday, quote, "It's not lost on us that you've been working desperately to try and firewall DCG from the problems that you created at Genesis. You should dispense with this fiction because we all know what you know, that DCG and Genesis are beyond commingled."
Gemini President Cameron Winklevoss made the accusation in an open letter, but said he was open to resolving his firm's complex lending dispute with Silbert's company, Digital Currency Group. Gemini had a partnership with Genesis Global Capital, which is the lending arm of Genesis Global Trading, which itself is owned by DCG. Gemini offered customers high yields on their crypto deposits by loaning them to Genesis Global Capital. Well, when FTX collapsed, Genesis halted redemptions and Gemini followed suit. Now, Gemini is trying to recoup $900 million in customer funds that were loaned to Genesis as part of that partnership. Next, the pace of stolen crypto funds plummeted at the end of 2022. Certic, a blockchain security analytics platform, found just $62 million worth of crypto stolen in December. That's down from more than $500 million in hacks that Certic analyzed in November. Certic also looked at crypto-related probes in 2022 and found 96 publicly announced investigations. Nearly half came from the FBI, 20% came from Secret Service, and 12% from the SEC.
FTX was tier one. It was like as sacred as you could get in the crypto space. You know, the CEO, Sam Bankman-Fried, was on Forbes magazine covers. He was testifying before Congress. It really was the shock of all shocks. So there's just mass contagion and panic has flooded through the market.
Ashmore found that balances on exchanges dropped by nearly 200,000 bitcoins compared to before the fall of FTX, as customers lost confidence in exchanges. That number trumps the Celsius insolvency over the summer, where 128,000 bitcoins were pulled from exchanges in the month following the crypto lending company's bankruptcy.
There's been three, big crashes this year. We had the first, which was the Luna meltdown, which was the death spiral of a stablecoin back in May. And we saw on chain big patterns of funds flowing out of exchanges then. But that was DeFi, it was slightly different. It wasn't these centralized entities that were breaking the trust from the public. The first high profile one of them was Celsius in June, and we again saw the same pattern, but much more pronounced, of coins flowing out of exchanges into self-custody. But FTX was a whole different ballgame. Again, we saw the same pattern, but just on a whole new scale. There was 200,000 bitcoins came out of exchanges within a month afterwards, as trust was just completely broken. So there's definitely a big movement towards cold storage or self-custody. It's just there's too much uncertainty here, and people just don't want to do it.
Evan Singh Luthra is one of those people. He's an angel investor who says he lost $2 million on FTX.
The whole ethos of why we took Bitcoin and went away from banks was so that we could have control our own money. Every Bitcoin I have in my hard wallet is still mine. Nobody could have taken it from me. Nobody can take it from me. But everything I put on any of these FTX, Binance, KuCoin, etc., I have a risk of losing it, right? And I'm willingly giving my crypto to somebody else, hopefully trying to make more out of it. But if you just hold it, it grows by itself anyways.
After what happened with FTX, I think a lot of people are going to the roots of Bitcoin and crypto. And that means really owning and managing your own assets without depending on anyone. One of the best ways to do that is, instead of holding your Bitcoin in an account on an exchange, holding it in your own account. It could be your own account that is a hot wallet that you own, meaning that it's connected to the internet. Or it could also be cold wallets, right? Where it's not connected to the internet, meaning that you hold your Bitcoin there, you can't do anything with it, but neither can anyone else. And you decide when you want to plug it back in and use it.
What would you say are the advantages of holding crypto in hard wallets? And do you think crypto investors should hold their assets in cold wallets, hot wallets, or perhaps a combination?
It really depends on what you want to do with those assets. So the advantages of keeping your assets in a cold storage hardware wallet is that no one can touch it no matter what. It's there. Obviously, there are some other disadvantages. If you lose that piece of hardware, then you lost your assets. No way to go around it, right? So with more power over our own assets comes more responsibility. Another disadvantage of holding it in a hard wallet is that you can't immediately trade it. So for example, if you for some reason think trade it for something else, it's at the moment not connected to the internet. So you need to get actual piece of hardware, plug it into the computer and the internet, and only then can you operate. So